In the dark space above a silent blue planet, the Thalrex fleet arrived like shadows. Their ships were long, black, and shaped like blades. They moved without sound, without lights, confident, proud, and ready to crush. The Thalrex Dominion had ruled the galaxy for 5,000 years. They didn't ask. They didn't negotiate. They arrived, conquered, and moved on. No species had ever stood against them for long. Those who did were destroyed. Those who didn't were turned into obedient slaves. Now, Earth was next. Inside the lead ship, Grand Commander Zarn stood with his arms behind his back. He looked down at the blue planet on the screen and smiled. His voice was calm. "Another, quiet one," he said. "No defense signals, no fleet, no energy shields. It's like they're not even watching." His second-in-command, Trell, nodded. "Their satellites are old. Their stations look broken. Perhaps their civilization is falling apart." "Even better," Zarn said with a grin. "We take control and leave nothing behind." They had done this many times before. Peaceful species were easy. Earth, with its outdated satellites and radio silence, seemed like the easiest one yet. No threats, no warnings. Just a quiet blue ball floating in space. But Earth was not what it seemed. Deep under Earth's surface, far beneath the Rocky Mountains, an old command center came to life. Dust fell from the ceiling as machines powered up, lights blinked, and screens lit up red. A female voice echoed in the empty hallway. "Threat detected. Thalrex ships in orbit. Level 1 alert. Protocol Vengeance activated." In the center of the room, a hologram of Earth glowed bright. A red circle marked the alien fleet in orbit. Old generals, long retired, were called back. Hidden soldiers woke from deep cryosleep. Silent bunkers opened. Defense systems long forgotten were now alive. The humans had not been idle all these years. They had watched. They had studied. They had waited. Earth knew the Thalrex. 2 centuries ago, there had been contact, but it had not ended well. Earth's leaders back then chose silence over surrender. Since then, Earth went dark, on purpose. No one had visited since. The aliens thought Earth was weak. Earth had been preparing for this day. Back in space, the Thalrex ships began to move into lower orbit. Hundreds of drones spread out across the skies, scanning human cities and military bases. Trell frowned as he looked at his screen. Some of their bases are underground. No activity, no heat, no movement. "Then they're dead," Zarn said. "We land in 6 hours. Begin deployment." But something strange happened. One of their scout ships disappeared, just vanished. No distress call, no explosion, just gone. Trell looked confused. "Scout 07 has gone silent." Zarn raised an eyebrow. "Send 2 more, find out what happened." The 2 new scout ships moved toward the area near Earth's moon where the first had vanished. Seconds later, both vanished too. This time there was sound, screams, static, explosions. Then, silence again. Zarn's smile disappeared. "What was that?" he demanded. "Unknown," Trell replied, checking his controls. "They were taken down by something powerful. It came from the moon's shadow." Zarn leaned forward, his voice low. "There's no base on the moon. There shouldn't be, but there was." From the dark side of the moon, a massive hidden cannon opened. Covered for over 100 years, it now charged silently. It locked onto the Thalrex command ship. It fired. The beam was bright and fast, too fast. One of the smaller Thalrex ships was torn in half. Debris scattered into space. The rest of the fleet panicked. Sirens screamed. Shields were activated. Defense formations were ordered. But Earth didn't stop. From behind Earth, 6 human stealth ships, painted black and nearly invisible, flew at high speed toward the Thalrex formation. Their weapons glowed blue. In seconds, they launched precise strikes. 1, 2, 3 alien ships were destroyed. The humans said nothing. No message, no warning, just clean, silent destruction. In the Thalrex command ship, chaos broke out. "We are under attack," one officer shouted. Enemy ships approaching from all sides. How many? Zarn roared. Only 6. But they're fast. And their weapons. Another explosion shook the ship. Lights flickered. Smoke filled the room. Zarn looked at the screen. One of his main ships was falling toward Earth on fire. This is impossible, he whispered. Sir, Trell said, shaking, we need to retreat. This planet, it is not peaceful. Zarn stared at Earth. He had made a mistake. A big one. He had thought no one would fight back. But now, for the first time in thousands of years, the Thalrex had met the wrong species. Far below, in the hidden bunker, General Mira Chen opened her eyes. She looked at the screen showing the burning alien ship falling from the sky. She spoke quietly, but clearly. Let the galaxy hear this, and we're back. The fireball in the sky was visible across 3 continents. People in cities, villages, and deserts all looked up, confused and afraid. A massive alien ship was falling through the clouds, burning like a comet. It crashed deep into the Pacific Ocean with a deafening sound. Waves rushed out in all directions, but this was only the beginning. High above Earth, the Thalrex fleet was in shock. This was not supposed to happen. The humans were not supposed to fight back. Their data said Earth was weak, primitive, and unprepared. But now 3 of their warships were gone, and the humans had not even spoken a word. Inside the Thalrex command ship, Grand Commander Zarn's face had changed. His usual calm expression was replaced by cold anger. He stared at the wreckage on his screen. What kind of species hides for centuries? He said quietly. Only to strike like this? His officers remained silent. Trell, his second in command, checked the sensors. The human ships have vanished again. No heat trail, no signals. They're flying silent. Impossible, Zarn growled. Track them. Use everything. But the human stealth ships were ghosts. On Earth, General Mira Chen stood inside the underground control room, calm but focused. She watched the enemy fleet slowly adjust its formation. The aliens were scared now, but not gone. Status of Moon. Cannon, she asked, cooling down. Needs 10 minutes to recharge, an officer replied. Good. How's the swarm? Ready for launch, ma'am. Mira gave a short nod. Send them. All across Earth's upper atmosphere, small hatches opened. On the moon, on secret satellites, on deep-sea platforms that rose just high enough to fire. And from these hidden points, hundreds of micro-drones launched into space. Tiny, silent, deadly. Each was armed with advanced AI, fast maneuvering jets, and needle-sized plasma charges designed to pierce alien hulls. They rushed toward the enemy like a swarm of invisible wasps. Back, in orbit, the Thalrex fleet still tried to understand what hit them. Suddenly, alarms screamed. Unidentified objects approaching, hundreds, maybe thousands. They're too small to track properly, one officer screamed. We're being boarded. It was true. The drones were so fast and so small that many passed through shield gaps. They attached to ship hulls, burned through armor, and sent shockwaves through internal systems. One alien. Cruiser lost power completely. Lights failed. Engines shut down. The ship drifted into another vessel and exploded. Panic spread. The Thalrex fleet scattered, trying to move apart. But it was too late. From behind the Earth's shadow, 6 more human stealth fighters appeared. They struck with precision, hitting only engines, weapon pods, and bridge modules. The humans weren't wasting ammo. They weren't showing off. They were teaching a lesson. One by one, the Thalrex ships fell, crippled or destroyed. Commander. Zarn's voice roared through the command bridge. Retreat. Pull back to high orbit. Ships turned sharply, boosting upward, away from Earth. But it was chaos. Shields down. Weapons disabled. We've lost 6 ships, Commander. Zarn slammed his fist into the screen. This isn't war, this is humiliation. He stared at the planet below. It looked so peaceful, so quiet. But now he knew the truth. Earth had tricked them. Earth had been hiding, not because it was weak, but because it was waiting. Send a message to High Command, he said coldly. Tell them, We've been ambushed. This species is not weak. Earth is a trap. Trell turned to him. What do we call this species in the report? Zarn's eyes narrowed. Call them human, and warn the galaxy. They're dangerous. Back on Earth, the drones returned safely to their launch points. The stealth fighters vanished into the clouds again. Not one human life had been lost. General Mira stood silently in the control room. She knew what was coming. This was not over. It was only round one. The Thalrex would return, but now they would come with fear. She turned to her officers. Send recovery crews for the wreck in the ocean. Collect everything. Leave nothing behind. Yes, General. She walked to the observation screen. The stars twinkled above the curve of the Earth. Commander Zarn will return, she said quietly. But next time, we won't just defend. A deep voice behind her replied, We strike back? Mira nodded. We strike back. Far across the galaxy, on a planet covered in black towers, the Thalrex High Council received the message. Earth is hostile, fleet ambushed, advanced stealth tech, unknown weapons. Commander requests reinforcements. The council stared at each other. One of them, the High Elder, whispered, It cannot be. This world was dead. But Earth was not dead. Earth had been reborn. And now, it had drawn first blood. Far beneath the Rocky Mountains, in a cold and quiet bunker, General Mira Chen walked down a steel hallway. The red emergency lights flickered softly above her. She didn't speak. She didn't need to. The silence was louder than words. Behind, her young soldiers and old commanders moved quickly, preparing for what would come next. The battle in orbit was over, for now. But everyone knew this was just the beginning. Mira reached a sealed door marked, Classified, Level 10, War Archives. She placed her hand on the scanner. A soft beep. The door slid open with a heavy sound. Inside, the room was filled, with old screens, dusty files, and frozen memories. A large digital map of the galaxy pulsed quietly in the center. Stars blinked. Some glowed red, marked as destroyed. Some were yellow, danger zones. Earth was blinking blue. One of the few that remained untouched for so long. Mira took a deep breath. Then she opened a locked drawer. Inside was a small black data chip. She placed it in the console. The screen in front of her lit up, showing a logo. Project Silence, year 2289. The recording began. A male voice filled the room. This is Admiral Jacob Voss, Earth Command. If you are watching this, it means the Thalrex have returned. The recording showed images. Burning cities, alien ships in Earth's skies, people running, soldiers dying. It was war, brutal and one-sided. They came fast, the voice continued. We weren't ready. We tried peace. We begged. But they didn't care. They destroyed 11 nations in 2 weeks. Mira watched the images silently. She had seen them before, but every time they cut deeper. The voice continued. We knew we couldn't win a direct fight, so we made a decision. Earth would disappear. On the screen, world leaders gathered in secret chambers. Plans were made. Signals were shut down. Space stations were deactivated. Military power went underground. We erased our presence from the galaxy. We built in silence. We trained in silence. And we waited. The voice faded out. The screen now showed blueprints of stealth ships, underground cities, and space weapons hidden under the moon's surface. Mira spoke quietly, mostly to herself. They thought we were gone, but all we did was get ready. Behind her, an old man walked in, his hair white, eyes sharp. Still watching the tapes? He asked. Mira turned. Commander Weller, I thought you retired. I did, he said. But I also thought the Thalrex would never come back. He stood beside her, looking at the screen. You were there, weren't you? She asked. Weller nodded. I was just a pilot then. I saw them bomb Tokyo. I watched the sky burn. Mira was quiet. I was 7, she said. I lost my sister in the Cairo blast. That's why I joined the Corps. Weller looked at her. They'll come back, he said. I know, she replied, and when they do, we won't hide this time. In orbit, the few remaining Thalrex ships drifted far above Earth, damaged, afraid. Commander Zarn sat in silence, watching Earth from his cracked screen. He held a data pad with images of the destroyed scout ships. The holes burned through them were too precise, too advanced. How did this happen? He muttered. No one answered. He stood and walked to the bridge window. We left this world, alone for 2 centuries. We thought they died off. But instead, he paused. They evolved. Trell whispered. Sir, if Earth could do this in secret, imagine what other Deathworlders could be hiding. That word, Deathworlders, was rarely used in the galaxy. Planets with extreme environments, harsh conditions, dangerous creatures, violent people. Humans came from one of the worst. And now the galaxy was about to remember that. Back on Earth, General Mira watched her team prepare for the next phase. Drones were being repaired, stealth ships reloaded, more units were waking from cryosleep. A young officer approached. Ma'am, message from the Europa base. They're online. Europa, one of Jupiter's moons, had a hidden outpost. Even many humans didn't know it existed. Connect them, Mira ordered. A screen flickered on. A woman with dark skin and cybernetic eyes appeared. This is Commander Lee, Europa Defense, she said. Looks like it finally happened. Zarn sent scouts, Mira replied. We sent back wreckage. Lee smiled slightly. He'll return. I know. Lee's eyes narrowed. Are we activating the protocol? Mira hesitated. Then she gave a nod. Yes. Bring online. Arc Squadron. The line went quiet. Lee only said one thing. Then it begins. Back in the war archives, Mira returned to the screen. She pressed a final button. A line of words appeared. Protocol Vengeance. Status. Active. Arc Squadron. Waking. Solar Gate. Charging. Everything Earth had built in silence was now coming online, Mira whispered to herself. They remember nothing, but we remember everything. Zarur Naeem bhai. Ye raha part 4. The trap is set. Simple और basic English में लिखा गया है, suspenseful style के साथ, ताकि आपके YouTube audience की attention बनी रहे. इस part में हम दिखाते हैं कि Earth ने सिर्फ survive नहीं किया. उन्होंने हर मूवे पहले से प्लान किया हुआ था. Part 4. The trap is set high above Earth. The stars looked peaceful. But in the shadows between those stars, war was coming. The Thalrex fleet had returned. This time, they didn't bring scouts or small ships. They came with hundreds of warships, heavy carriers, dreadnoughts, and destroyers. Each ship was armed with plasma turrets, energy missiles, and gravity bombs. Commander Zarn stood at the front of his new flagship, the Sovereign Claw. His golden armor shined under the lights. This time, he growled, we end Earth, no mercy. Trell, his second-in-command, nodded. We will strike from 3 sides. Their moon cannon will be useless. Zarn raised his hand. Begin. 3 massive fleets moved in. One from Earth's front, one from behind the moon, and one from the dark side of the sun. It was a perfect plan. But that was exactly what Earth wanted. Underground on Earth, General Mira Chen stood in a dark command chamber, eyes locked on the live screen. Fleet has split, one officer reported. Exactly as expected, Mira smiled slightly. They fell for it. All around her, officers and engineers worked quickly but calmly. No panic, no fear, because this battle had already been planned. On the moon, hidden under deep craters, Earth's second cannon rotated silently. This one was never shown before, not even to Earth's allies. Target rear fleet, the gunner said. Locked. Fire. A massive white beam shot through the moon's crust like a god's sword. It tore across space and smashed into the enemy fleet behind the moon. 6 alien ships were cut in half instantly. Others spiraled, burning before exploding. Into pieces. Commander Zarn watched the destruction from orbit and shouted, How? We disabled the moon cannon. Trell's hands shook. There's another one, sir. Impossible. But it wasn't. Earth had built not one, but 3 lunar cannons. Near Jupiter, the Ark Squadron had awakened. These were not regular ships. These were Earth's deadliest creations. Long, dark, silent vessels made of living alloys and plasma bones. They moved like shadows and hit like storms. Each Ark ship had no windows, no need. They were piloted by Earth's smartest AI, trained in war, survival, and revenge. Their only mission: protect Earth, eliminate threats, never speak. Never show mercy. The Ark Squadron vanished into the darkness and jumped through solar gates toward Earth. They would arrive in 4 minutes. That's all Earth needed. In space, Earth's stealth fighters reappeared, 30 in total. They darted through the gaps in the alien fleet, targeting engines and fuel pods only. They never stayed in one place, never gave the enemy a chance to fire. Alien ships tried to lock on, but the human fighters vanished again. Suddenly, a loud transmission echoed. Across both fleets, it was General Mira. Her voice was calm but filled with steel. This is Earth Command. We gave you peace. You answered with blood. Now you will learn what a real enemy looks like. Commander Zarn snarled and opened a response line. Human leader, you should beg for mercy. Mira stared directly into the camera. No, I want you to see what's coming. She raised her hand. All units. Execute Phase 3. Just then, from the far side of Earth, hundreds of war drones launched from under oceans, volcano bases, and hidden polar stations. Each drone was the size of a bus, equipped with high-energy railguns and shielding tech stolen from enemy wreckage. The Thalrex fleet was surrounded from all sides, moon above, Earth below, and now war machines from the flanks. Their 3-sided attack had become a 3-sided trap. Commander Zarn screamed, "Retreat! Pull the fleet back!" But it was too late. The Ark Squadron arrived. The sky darkened. The AI ships came out of hyperspace silently, glowing with red veins of energy. They fired black pulse weapons, invisible beams that melted through Thalrex shields like paper. Each blast hit exactly where it hurt the most: bridges, reactors, fuel tanks. Thalrex ships fell like dominoes. Zarn's flagship shook violently as nearby vessels exploded. Where did they get these weapons? Trell shouted. Zarn's voice was full of hate. They must have traded with another empire, but the truth was worse. Earth had built these weapons alone. In silence. In the dark. With purpose. On Earth, General Mira watched the enemy fleet collapse. Confirm casualty count? She asked. 0 human losses, her officer replied. Enemy? 80% of their fleet is gone or fleeing. Mira closed her eyes briefly, then whispered, Activate recovery teams. Leave no tech behind. Yes, General. She turned to her officers. Let the galaxy see. Earth is not a quiet world anymore. Far away, in the Thalrex capital, the High Council received the emergency message. Fleet destroyed. Earth is not primitive. Earth is a death world. Do we not return? Repeat, do not return. The council stared at each other, shaken. One old member said softly, We made a mistake. But it was too late. The humans had set the trap, and the galaxy had walked right in. Far away from Earth on the shining planet of Valtor, the Galactic Council was in emergency session. The Grand Chamber, normally filled with calm debates and slow diplomacy, was now roaring with fear, confusion, and anger. Hundreds of alien leaders floated, stood, or slithered around the giant circular room. They came from dozens of species, scaled, feathered, silicon-bodied, and liquid-shaped. But all had one thing in common today. They were afraid. A massive screen in the center showed wreckage, burning Thalrex ships, destroyed fleets, and strange shadow ships marked unknown origin. Who gave Earth those weapons? Shouted the Charkan ambassador, pounding his clawed fist on the table. They were supposed to be extinct, hissed a thin, blue-skinned creature. Earth tricked us. They faked weakness. The council leader, a wise old being called High Speaker Zorotel, raised his hands. "Silence," he commanded in a deep, echoing voice. "We must understand, not panic." A small red light blinked on Zorotel's console. "Bring in the report," he said. An AI voice spoke clearly to all members. The Thalrex fleet launched a triple assault. Earth responded with stealth tech, lunar weapons, planetary drones, and unknown AI ships. Thalrex fleet status: 89% destroyed or disabled. Earth status: stable, minimal loss. Conclusion: Earth is no longer primitive. Gasps and growls filled the chamber. "How did we miss this?" a three-eyed lizard general asked. An old diplomat replied, "We didn't miss it. We ignored it." The silence was heavier than steel. In a quiet hallway outside the council chamber, Ambassador Valey of the Icaran Empire stood beside a tall, masked figure. "I told them Earth was dangerous," she whispered. But they laughed. "Now look," the masked figure spoke in a robotic tone. "Did you hide the truth, Valey?" She didn't answer at first, then nodded. "Yes. I knew they were building something, but I thought, maybe they only wanted peace. I was wrong." The figure leaned in. "Peace is only for the strong, and Earth is stronger than they ever imagined." Back in the chamber, a hologram lit up, marked "Confidential, year 2305. It showed satellite footage from deep space. In it, a black Ark-class ship destroyed a rogue pirate fleet in less than 90 seconds. "This recording is 20 years old," shouted a green tentacled ambassador. "Earth's military has been active all along," another counselor said. "But they never claimed credit. They cleaned up our mess quarry in the shadows." Now the fear changed into something worse. Regret. What if Earth is no longer our equal, but our superior? Zorotel looked over the room. They've remained silent. Even now, they didn't attack first. They responded, cleanly, professionally. But their power, a voice said, is far beyond what's legal under the Galactic Treaty. Zorotel didn't blink. "So what do we do?" The answer came from a quiet voice in the back. "We either make peace or prepare for a war. We cannot win." Meanwhile, deep beneath Earth's surface, in a hidden council room called Black Chamber, General Mira Chen stood with a few of Earth's oldest leaders. "The galaxy is talking," she said. "They will want answers," said Admiral Roque. Mira nodded. "And they will send spies, maybe assassins, maybe diplomats." An old woman with a steel cane added, "We knew this day would come. That's why Protocol GhostNet was activated." A map of the galaxy lit up behind them, showing listening posts, deep cover agents, and planted misinformation across the stars. "Then let them wonder," Mira said. "Let them fear what they don't understand." She paused. "We never wanted domination, only survival. But if they come for us again?" Everyone in the room looked up. "We will show them," she finished. "Why Earth is called a death world." Far away on a desert moon, a different figure watched Earth's data in silence. He was no council member, no ambassador. He was a warden, one of the secret watchers of the galaxy. Part myth, part punishment, all real. He smiled slowly. "So, the humans are awake," he said. Behind him, old alien weapons powered up for the first time in 1,000 years. Let's see if the stories are true. In the cold darkness between galaxies, a place untouched by trade routes or star maps, there existed a dead world. Or so the galaxy believed. But now it woke. The wind screamed across broken towers, and giant black machines hummed softly after sleeping for 1,000 years. And deep inside the planet, a warden watched Earth's rise. He wore no crown. He had no army, but he was feared by the oldest species in the stars. His name was lost to time, but the galaxy once called him the Endbringer of Empires. He turned to a glowing screen. Earth. Humans. Alive. Evolved. Powerful. "So, they are the children of the first ones," he whispered. Behind him, machines started activating. Ancient star maps lit up. Earth's coordinates were marked with a red flame. The warden placed one hand on the glass. They are not ready. He turned. But I will test them. Back on Earth, in a secured vault beneath Antarctica, General Mira Chen entered a hidden room labeled Project Arcfall. A single man stood inside, a scientist named Dr. Elias Rhine. He didn't salute. He simply asked, "Do they know?" Mira shook her head. "No. The galaxy still thinks we just fought back." Elias sighed. "Then they're fools." Mira stepped forward. "What do you mean?" The scientist tapped a screen. It showed old footage from a dig site on Mars covered up for 60 years. Alien ruins, Earth symbols, DNA signatures matching humans. "We weren't Earth's first civilization," Elias said quietly. "We came back." Mira's eyes widened. "You mean?" He nodded. "We are the second rise of humanity. The first ones left us something." He pressed a button. A hologram of an alien appeared. Humanoid, glowing eyes, tall and regal. It spoke one sentence in ancient language, translated by AI. "If the wardens wake, run." Mira whispered, "But we don't run." Elias stared at her. "Then we better be ready." In deep space, the warden's ships began to rise from the crust of his forgotten world. Unlike any modern vessel, these ships had living hulls, shaped like bones, beating with silent energy. They didn't jump through hyperspace, they slipped through time. 10 ships launched. No sound, no warning, no name. Their target, Earth. Meanwhile, in the Galactic Council, whispers turned into plans. "Earth is not just a danger," one ambassador said. "They may be the lost bloodline of the progenitors. If that was true, Earth could claim power above the Council. They must be watched, controlled, or stopped." A secret vote began. It was called Protocol Silence. Earth had 30 days to respond to the Council's new demand: disarm all long-range weapons, hand over AI technology, and submit to galactic inspection. But Earth had seen this trick before, and this time they had no intention of playing along. General Mira gathered Earth's inner circle in the Black Chamber. Admirals, commanders, scientists, spies. She said only one sentence: "The galaxy thinks we're afraid. They've forgotten one thing. We were born in fire." A young officer stepped forward. "Ma'am, one more thing. We received an anonymous transmission." "From who?" "We don't know. It came through 13 broken relay points. But it only said that," he read aloud, "the wardens are coming. You have awakened their interest. Survive, and you will be judged." The room fell silent. Even Mira's eyes narrowed. So it had begun. Earth had beaten one enemy. But now they faced something far older, far darker, something not of this galaxy. The wardens were moving, and their shadow had just fallen across Earth. The stars were quiet. Too quiet. No merchant ships, no patrols, no chatter on the galactic channels. Only silence. Earth's defense network was on high alert. Satellites watched every corner of the sky. AI systems ran thousands of simulations every second. Still, nothing came. Then, they arrived. Not through jump gates, not through normal space. They simply appeared, as if the universe had always hidden them. 10 warden ships, floating, silent, watching. Each one shaped like a massive skeleton, long, dark, glowing from within like ancient beasts built from starlight and nightmares. They didn't fire. They didn't move. They just waited. In Earth's command chamber, General Mira Chen stood at the center. Red lights blinked across the room. Admiral Roque whispered, "They're not attacking." Mira replied, "That's worse. They're observing. Us. Judging." Dr. Elias Rhine entered the room with panic in his eyes. "They're using something ancient. Not sensors, not scanners. Something else." "What?" Mira asked. "They're reading us," he said. "Our history. Our minds, our emotions. Mira frowned. They're testing who we are. The room fell silent. Then the message came. Not in words, not on screens, but straight into every human's mind. A deep, calm voice spoke inside their thoughts. Clear, slow, and powerful. You are the children of flame, born twice from the ashes. You built war. You built peace. Now, we ask one question. Are you worthy to rise a third time? Across Earth, people dropped to their knees. Some cried, some trembled, some clenched their fists in anger, but others stood tall. A farmer in Africa whispered, "We've suffered. We've learned." A mother in Japan held her child and said, "We protect what we love." An old soldier in Brazil raised his hand toward the sky. We never stopped fighting, but not for power, for peace. In orbit, the warden ships began to pulse with light. One of them descended slowly, right above Earth's surface, over the oceans. From its center, a figure emerged, tall, glowing. Neither machine nor flesh. It stood over 30 feet high, but did not speak through voice. It spoke directly to Mira's mind. You did not ask for war, but you did not hide from it. You used strength with purpose, fear with control. You chose mercy when it was hard. You have passed the trial of judgment. The stars are no longer closed to you, and just like that, the warden ships vanished. No flash. No noise. They simply ceased to exist. Back in the council chamber, panic turned to shock. What happened? Someone shouted. They didn't destroy Earth? No, another whispered. They recognized them. The high speaker stood slowly. Then, it is decided, Earth is not a threat. He looked out over the room. They are our future. 1 week later, a broadcast echoed across the galaxy. A human child was speaking, smiling. Hello, he said. We're humans. We're still learning, but we're not afraid. Millions of aliens watched in silence, some with awe, some with fear, but none with laughter. In the dark corner of the universe, a final warden sat alone, recording a single note. The second age of humanity has begun. This time, the stars will remember. Zaror Naim Bhai. Yahan hai part 8. Humanity's true place among the stars. फाइनल एपिलॉग स्टाइल पार्ट जो स्टोरी को डीपली इमोशनल और पावरफुल क्लोजर देता है। ये पार्ट ऑडियंस को सोचने पर मजबूर करेगा और ह्यूमैनिटी के फ्यूचर का दरवाज़ा खोल के रखेगा, जैसे किसी मूवी का आफ्टर क्रेडिट सीन होता है। काम बट डीप। लिखा गया है सिंपल और बेसिक इंग्लिश में, थर्ड पर्सन HFY स्टाइल में, ताकि आपकी यूट्यूब ऑडियंस वीडियो से लास्ट तक जुड़ी रहे। पार्ट 8 Humanity's True Place Among. The stars' weeks passed since the wardens vanished, but the memory of them didn't. Earth had changed. Not just politically, not just militarily, something deeper. People looked up at the stars, not with fear, but with belonging. Humanity was no longer just a planet. They were now part of something bigger. The Galactic Council held an emergency meeting. This time, Earth had a seat. General Mira Chen walked into the grand chamber, wearing a black uniform with silver lines, Earth's new diplomatic mark. Some alien leaders looked nervous, some curious, but none ignored her. She stood at the center, calm and bold. We are not here to rule, she said simply. We are here to stand equal, to keep peace, to defend those who can't defend themselves. A few laughed quietly. One alien said, "And if war comes again?" Mira smiled coldly. "Then you'll be glad we're on your side." No one questioned her after that. On Luna Base, Earth's fleet stood parked in silence, bigger than ever but not marching. New ships were being built. Not just for war, but for exploration. For the first time in centuries, the question wasn't how to survive. It was, where do we go next? In a classroom on Mars, a human teacher stood before alien children. She pointed to a star map. Do you know what makes Earth special? She asked. A young Zarnian child raised her hand. Because you fight better? The class laughed. The teacher smiled. No, it's because we remember pain. And still, we choose hope. She tapped the map. And hope is something worth sharing. Meanwhile, deep in space beyond known systems, a human exploration ship called Lightbringer entered uncharted territory. Captain Lee stood at the bridge. Report? He asked. The crew scanned the area. No threats, no life signs. Wait, something's here. A golden sphere floated ahead. Inside it, ancient writing glowed. The AI translated, "To those who rise from the ashes, know this. The stars are not the end. They are the beginning." Captain Lee whispered, "Let's see what lies beyond." And the ship moved forward into the unknown. Back on Earth, a simple plaque was placed on the moon's surface. It read, "They thought we would never fight back. But we didn't just fight. We proved we belong." Humanity had found its place. Not above others, not below, but among the stars. As equals, as protectors, as survivors, and as the species who refused to kneel.